Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog, and today I have a first for this channel and it is a book unhaul. If you're not new here, you may have seen I did a TBR video. That link is above me now. And it threw a lot of things into light, and it ultimately meant I have a very large TBR of physical books that I need to get through. So I've been on a bit of a book buying ban. I'm only allowed books that I definitely want or books that I get for gifts, but not like looking into new authors and things like that for me. And as I am reading, I am keeping books that I adore, that I think I would reread again, generally 5-star reads or ones that are important to me, but ones that I don't feel I would read again. As always, I donate them, sell them, pass them on. And these are not all the books I've done that for this year, because I tend to do it gradually over time as I finish each individual book. But I went through a phase and I got through a lot at once or very near each other. So I wanted to share with you guys the books that I'm going to unhaul. So this is not all from 2025, but it's a big chunk of the 2025 books that will be unhauled. Other books I previously unhauled that you won't have seen were from 2023 and 2024, as well as a few this year, but we might make this a regular until I get my TBR under control. Let's get into this unhaul. Before I get into that, don't forget, if you like what you see, to subscribe to this channel. You can continue to support me a lot, so thank you guys so much. The first book that I'm going to unhaul is The Strawberry Thief by Joanna Harris. I have a vlog of when I read this one because I actually had to borrow the first 3 books in this series from the library because I bought this years ago without realising it was part of a series. I did enjoy this series. The link's above me now if you want to see that vlog where I read the full one, but it's not one I feel I'm going to reread, and it's definitely not one I need to keep only the 4th book of the series for. If I wanted to keep this book, I'd have to buy the first 3, which I actually bought from the library, and I just don't feel the need to do that. So The Strawberry Thief by Joanna Harris is the first to go. I will sell some of these. I'll put a link below if you're interested, but I did enjoy it. The vlog's above me now. The second book I'm going to unhaul is Blossoms and Shadows by Leanne Hearn. This I don't have a book review for, but I do sum it up in my 4th TBR of 2025. That link's above me now. It was a very interesting read and I do recommend it, but it's not one I would reread. It's by Leanne Hearn, who wrote The Tales of the Atori, which is a fantastic series. This is more historical and it does go into transgender, which I really enjoyed that part. But the rest of it felt very Memoirs of a Geisha, so very fascinating. Very interesting to read, but not one I want to read again. But this was a book that I had to finish for 2025, so I'm glad I managed that. The third book is Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. This was a Oxfam find by Matt's dad years ago, so it's one that we've had for a long time that I knew I need to read, and look how pretty that is. I'm being distracted by how shiny it is again, aren't I? Anyway, it was a really good read, but it's not one that I would read again. It is an author that I may look into and see if they have more books to try once I get through this TBR. But yes, Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. I do have a review for this one as well. The 4th book is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. This is a translated literature and it's all from the eyes of a robot. It's very people watching. It's a alternate future kind of idea, but it didn't go quite far enough for me, and honestly I hated every character in it except one. The rest were just terrible people. But I feel that's kind of the point. It is going into humanity, asks a lot of big humanitarian questions, but it's not one I want to reread. But yeah, there is a review for this one. Next pile. Now this one is not actually one I'm unhauling for a reason with its writing. It's one I'm unhauling because we have 2 copies. This is David Mitchell, The Bone Clocks, and I have a review of this. That link is above or below me now. Our copy is up there in our David Mitchell section. So I still have a copy of this. It's just we have a duplicate. It was left over from our wedding book swap, and someone said they wanted it and then just stopped contacting me. So it's going. I can't just hold it forever for that one person. But I love this 5-star read. Get a copy. We then have 3 books that are actually ones Matt has read, but he did not recommend for me to read, and that is Use of Weapons by Ian M. Banks. It's a science fiction, and he said it just was average. Then have Ubik by Philip K. Dick. Again, Matt just felt it was one he was happy to read, but one that he wouldn't reread and wouldn't recommend for me. Those are both books we got from our wedding book swap. Then we actually have somehow managed to get 2 books by the same person, and I didn't realise. One of these was a book that we were given as a wedding present, but one I'm honestly not going to read. And one is a leftover one from our book swap. The one that was left over from the book swap is How Can It Be All Right When Everything Is All Wrong? The book that changed my life. That's from Rob Parsons. And the other one is Loving Against the Odds, Creating the Marriage You've Always Wanted, again by Rob Parsons. The issue is, if you want to hear the titles, Communicating More Effectively, that's fine. Overcoming Financial Pressure, Why Interest in Sex Sometimes Dies, The Affair, and Dealing with Conflict. And upon reading bits of it, it's not something I am interested to read. Also, me and Matt aren't having problems, so not the kind of self-help books I'm interested in reading. Okay, the next ones are back to ones that I read. We have The Split by Laura Kay. There is a book review of this one coming out in the summer. And this one, it was a light-hearted, easy rom-com. However, it's not one I'm going to reread. It's also one that has triggers for me regarding alcohol. That's entirely my own issue, which I do go into in the review. But ultimately, it's not one I enjoyed enough to want to reread, and I don't want to revisit those triggers. Next, we have Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mitsuki Tsushimura. Again, this one was a book club read, but it's one I actually owned before the book club chose it because it was one I was interested in. I just wasn't that impressed. I didn't find the translation that great, and the story was all right. I thought it had great potential, but just didn't quite go far enough for me. So not one I'm going to reread. Another one is Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. Now, if you're not new here, I adore Elizabeth Lim's writing, and this was one that I got years ago again, but hadn't read yet. I wanted it to be as good as the 6 Crimson Crowns series, and it just wasn't. I think this is her debut, and the romance felt forced in. The story didn't have the same flow. It is part of a duology. If I want to in the future, I might borrow the second book from the library, but it's not one I'm going to reread. I still have the 6 Crimson Crowns series and the new book by Elizabeth Lim in my collection, and those are ones that I feel I would currently reread, but not this one. Next up, we have Mrs. England by Stacey Halls. This was another that I wanted to read this year, and it is a beautiful copy. And I believe it is signed. It's superbly written. It is a really good book, but it's not one I'd read again. It kind of just didn't go far enough for me, and because it is a mystery, once you've got the mystery, which I felt it didn't go far enough on anyway, then you've got it. So this is one that I just think someone else would love in their collection because it is a beautiful copy, and also a book that someone else could enjoy because it is very well written, just not for me to reread. And the final book from this unhaul, and this is one I've had in my collection for quite a long time now. It is The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen Hermes Gower, and this one is also signed. It is a beautiful edition with the blue. I read this book years ago and I did really enjoy it, but over time I've realized I don't think I'm going to reread it. So I don't need it on my shelf if I'm not going to reread it, and it means that someone else could really enjoy this copy of it and just have a very good time with this book other than it just sitting on my shelf. So that is it for this book haul. Let's see how many. That's 14 books. Wow. As I said, this is not all the books that I've unhauled in 2025. This is just a collection that seems to have formed because we didn't have time to get to the charity shop or sell. Like ones like these 2 up here, which are first editions, I believe. Actually, are you also? This one is also a first edition. The first editions, obviously, I want to try to sell, so I had just kept a hold of these This one is actually one that I just took off the shelf because I had a reorganization of the books and realized didn't think I needed to keep it. And some of these, like these 3, are ones that we didn't actually buy. They were just ones, or these 4 are ones that were just here that we didn't need or want. That is my first unhaul for this channel. I might give it a go doing this yearly or every 6 months. Just whilst I'm working through my TBR, instead of removing them gradually, I might save them up a little bit to share with you guys before I remove, but we'll see. What do you guys think? Do you enjoy seeing the books I'm unhauling and why? I will pop a link below to any of these I am selling. Most are ones I would recommend. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 7 are ones I would recommend you read, which is The Strawberry Thief by Joanne Harris, Blossoms and Shadows by Leanne Hearn, Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho, The Split, Laura Kay, Mrs. England, Stacey Halls, The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock, Imogen Hermes Gower, and The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. I would recommend these still. They're just not ones that I'm going to keep in my collection for the reasons I've given. That's just a duplicate. I would recommend those. These ones, personally, I would not recommend, which is Use of Weapons Ian Banks, Ubik Philip K. Dick, The 2 Rob Parsons, The Book That Changed My Life, and 11 Against the Odds, The Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Toshimura, Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim, and Clara and the Sun, Kazuo Ishiguro. Those 7 are ones I wouldn't recommend. These ones are ones I would recommend. Okay, so these, yeah, they're good reads, just not for my collection. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you like to see as soon as I upload, click the little bell down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr. I post my bookish pictures, as well as writing tips and unboxings on there. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye!